One of the other guitars here I have is a Harmony Roy Smeck Jamboree. Well, it's a Jamboree model. So it was modeled off the Harmony Jamboree, which I believe is an H250. This is an don't know if you can see that, H253. So it's slightly modified. It does not have the metal binding. It just has plastic binding. This is a new bridge out of ebony that Pete over at Driftwood Music created for me. The old one was pearwood. I probably got it lying somewhere around here. Yep. Some of these things are a little dusty because I had a circular saw running. So this is the old bridge. Dyed pearwood, so it's very soft, not good material for bridges, or, as I discovered, fretboards. This thing chipped like nobody's business, and eventually I just got to the point where I was like, okay, this isn't, a competition. I'm gonna have to get it closed up and leave it, because with every change I make, it seems to get worse. It's got standard 3 1/plate tuners. Again, Pete from Driftwood Music, he assisted me in rummaging through his parts bin to finish these up. They were missing a couple parts, and so we just made some new ones. Well, we didn't make some new ones, we finished what was already there, replaced the missing parts, and now it's good to go. I'm just waiting on my bridge clamps to arrive. But it's got a real cool all black look. The dovetail joint. The neck on this thing was super loose when I got it, so it hardly took any steam at all to get the dovetail out. Down in there is, switch to my right hand here. Down in there is the metal rod, which is the steel reinforced neck. Goodness, in a lot of these guitars, I've actually got one here. It has some sandpaper glued to it, but this is the rod that is in these guitars. Steel rod sits like that. It's supposed to help, or it does help, counteract some of the string tension on the wood, but obviously not as good as an actual truss rod. So it only does so much. It's got this big paddle headstock with what looks like, I don't want to say silk screen, it almost looks like they took a template and then they just spray painted it or air gunned it, whatever was appropriate at the time. But I have corrected the neck angle. I've still got some shimming to do, which is these two pieces here are for. And then after that, it should be good to go. And another interesting thing I discovered about it was let me see if I can get this to work. The bridge plate is this one long beam that spans the entire, it's almost like a brace in itself, which is interesting. So this guitar also has a non-zero belly, we'll say nicely. I don't have my straight edge with me, but it is fairly warped, so taking the bridge plate off, reducing the top, and putting it back on was kind of out of the question. Just kind of had to go with it. So other than that, it's got metal frets. They're not brass, it doesn't look like. but they rust fairly easily. So it needs a new nut, the bridge glued on, and then it should be ready to go, which will be cool. There's not a whole lot of these floating around. I think it's 1950s, mid to late 50s. Army didn't keep the best track, so there's no guarantee.